everybody. This is BS of the Week, episode 23. We're headed towards the end of the season. Only one game left. We're going to review our games. I'm Patrick Driggett, coach of the Berlin Fire, and I'm joined by my friends.
Hi there, I'm Kevin Lucy from the Glasgow Rushmores, and this week we have a special guest, who is
Ben Duggan of the Kerno Sharks.
Welcome, Ben. We're really excited to have you again.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, you're looking good. Looking good this season. That must be exciting.
Oh, I don't want to speak too soon. I think I said that earlier on in the season, like, oh, don't speak too soon. And it's still going well, but I don't know. I'm an eternal pessimist. I don't know. It's just,
it's probably
everything crossed.
It's probably good to be a little bit of a pessimist and just do your best. So yeah, well, excited for you. I think my playoff hopes are effectively dashed, I think, at this point. But we'll talk about the playoff picture a little bit later. But we're excited to have you. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Yeah. So we're going to jump right in. Let's talk about the Week 9 results. Ben, you were going to talk about the LFC results.
Yep. So we'll start off. First one we've got is, I'll get it out the way early, Patrick. The Fire versus the Statesman. No surprise what was going to come out of that one. You know, Fire 9, Statesman 28. The Statesman just sort of made the most of the turnovers, good special teams plays, and they just racked up the points. Unfortunately, I just don't think the Fire could really get going, really. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I was actually kind of shocked. I do think I kind of switched up my game plan entirely, and I think he really, tore me up on the special teams. And surprisingly, because I don't think I'm positioned too badly, but he had me dialed in. So good for Lee. Very excited for him, and hope that bodes well for him getting the wild card slot.
Yeah, seems to be doing very well at the moment. The next one, the Phoenix versus the Sun Devils. Phoenix 42, Sun Devils 0. That again, Phoenix, their ground game and air game is just brilliant at the moment. Just kept the momentum and got the win. Sun Devils again, I think turnovers was another thing, like with the Fire, just turnovers just gave the Phoenix all the opportunity to get the points on the board. We'll move on to yours, Kev. Rushmores versus 66ers. 27 to the Rushmores, 21 to the 66ers. Congratulations.
Congrats,
Kev. Win. Absolutely smashed the first win bonus right at the top there, so well done. I think it was your D that really did it for you. Just took advantage of turnovers again, gave your offense enough opportunities to score the board. I thought at the 30-minute mark, I was watching it, and it was like interception here, then another interception back, and then interception here again. It was all over the place. I loved it, but well done on getting that win. Very well deserved.
Thank you, sir.
Knights versus the Shadows, 21 to the Knights, 6 to the Shadows. Knights just used the possession to round out the win. They're still in the playoff picture, the Knights, which is very interesting considering they've got the Weasels in their next game. So that could be very, very telling. But apparently the Weasels have the Hornets. That's what it is. The Weasels have the Hornets. So it could be all to play for there. Next one we've got is the Irish versus the Sharks. Now, I'm a little bit biased. I think this should be high up there for Game of the Week. Because the Irish absolutely came out all guns blazing, and I do not know what the Sharks were doing. We won 28-21, but it wasn't for a lack of the Irish trying. We gave enough turnovers to make it hard on ourselves, and that final 5 minutes was Oscar material. It really was, on our own goal line twice, literally inches away, and we hold them off, and then managed to get possession back and see it out. But my God, I was heart and throat the whole time there. So I'm glad that we got that win, but God, we made it difficult. Massive versus the Buccaneers, 27 to the Massive, 24 to the Buccaneers. Not going to talk about this one too much because it's also tipped for Game of the Week. But both teams just went out there, spread the ball around, big plays here, there, and everywhere. An MVP performance by Lafayette. Well, that was spectacular work. So I'm sure that will get spoke about a little bit later on. The Newmarket Patriots 16 versus the swarming Giant Hornets 53. Again, not really surprising there. The Giant Hornets keep marching on. Enough said. They did well to keep the newfound Patriots air offense down, to be honest. Old Drift didn't quite get as many yards as he's been used to for the last couple of weeks, but no, that's exciting for the Patriots. going forward, probably into next season. But the Giant Hornets are just, I don't think they're even trying at the moment. I don't even think we've seen them hit sixth gear yet. So we shall see what happens with them. And then there's the Super Weasels versus the Rhinos, which for me is game of the week because it's the strangest game of the week. It's a game of how not to protect your quarterback. 9 sacks in total throughout the game. Absolutely insane. And the Weasels dominated pretty much every single stat: yards, first downs, least turnovers, possession. They dominated everything apart from the points. The thing for me was the Weasels only sort of made it into the 10-yard zone twice, and they only scored once. The Rhinos D was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And for some reason, they just managed to score a couple of touchdowns against the Weasels' field goals, and that made the difference. And yeah, the Rhinos came away 19-15 with the win. So very well done for them there. So that's all the games in the LFC. And I think, Kev, you're going to talk about the PFC.
Yeah. Another good week. I thought this week I'd do it slightly differently. And what I'd do is I'd do because this is the interdivisional games, I thought I'd do them by division, as it were. So starting in the North, PFC North, and we'll work anti-clockwise. The Maroons 43, the Bombers 12. To be quite honest, no real surprise there. If anyone's looking for a trade pick, then Jeff at the moment has the number 1 draft pick. So as long as he doesn't dare draft with a certain Conrad, then we'll all be fine. Because Conrad getting a number 1 draft pick would be unthinkable. So yeah, no surprise there. Talking of Conrad, the Rivets 52, the Surfers 17. Now I'm sure Gary would have loved to have actually come away with a win, but he probably knew right from the very start that you don't go into the Rivets' backyard and expect to come away with a victory. So again, I have to say 52-17 really isn't a major shock. Okay, moving around to the West. The Titans 31 and the Huskies 7. Again, with the Huskies record, it's really not a surprise. They couldn't build on their 1 win this year. And as you'll see later on, the Titans actually needed to keep that going. The score was 17-0 at halftime, so really the game was pretty much all over at that stage, as we'd probably expect. The Packers 34 and the Stormers 20. This game actually was a heck of a lot closer than the score suggests. The Stormers actually shifted the ball for 420 yards. 428 yards to be precise, and the Packers for only 326. They both had equal time on possession. However, and basically the quarterback, Ant, was sacked 4 times. And he threw for 2 interceptions. And that was probably what gave the Packers the edge, because the Stormers just kept being kind to them and helping them out wherever they possibly could do, especially the quarterback there. So I think that was the big difference between the two teams. PFC South, we've got the Bulldogs 45 and the Devils 10. Again, really no major surprise there, looking at the season that the Devils have had. Fulham Hollow Devils really not having the greatest season in the world. And the Bulldogs, again, a nice, comfortable victory there. Eagles 34, Warriors 7. That result really just about puts Ambrose totally out of the I wouldn't say the wild card race, but he had an outside mathematical chance of sneaking into the wild card race. But bearing in mind the fact he's playing the Rivets next week, I think you can safely say, and he needs a lot of things to go in his favour. That win also takes the Eagles into the 2nd seed position, which again we'll talk about a little bit later on. So that's a good result there. And the PFC East, okay, is the last one that we're going to have a look at. This game here, the Chargers 20, the Rough Riders 23. It's absolutely amazing when there's nothing but pride to play for. How he managed to get one of the best games of the whole season for the 2 teams, 20-23. It was as heckish tight all the way through. And again, this was another one where Chris was feeling the Christmas spirit and decided to try and help wherever possible. He moved the ball further than Pete. His downfall, though, was again 2 interceptions and 4 unrecovered fumbles, making a total of 6 turnovers in total. And Pete's Rough Riders only had managed the 1 turnover. So in a tight game where it's 20-23 and there's only 3 points in it, you really just cannot afford to give the ball away like that. Even though you've got superior yardage, even though your team is playing well, you cannot afford to let that sort of slip, as it were. And the final game in the PFC East, oh my gosh, this one could go a heck of a long way to deciding who would be the champions of the PFC East. PFC East at the moment is the only division in the PFC which hasn't been decided. Going into the game, we had one team that was 6-2, and we had another team that was 5-3. So basically, the Rapiers were sitting at 5-3, whilst the Generals were sitting at 6-2. So obviously, if the Rapiers lost this one, then basically that was it. They were destined to, at best, a wildcard place. And as we watched through the game, everything was all level at 21 points each going into the 4th quarter. Okay, remember, the Rapiers have got to win this game, otherwise their divisional aspirations are over. Basically, what happened is the Rapiers then, in fact, nudged ahead, 28-21. But the Generals replied to make it 28-27 with a point after to now come. And what happened? They missed the point after. So the game stayed at 28-27. And in the 59th minute, then the Rapiers eventually put the nail in the coffin, scored another touchdown to make the final score 35-27. Now, in this game, you had 2 enormous performances. On the losing side, you had Hooker, who rushed for 225 yards whilst losing the game. And on the winning side, you had Pogue, the quarterback, who threw for 447 yards, with Reed and Orlando, his wide receiver and tight end, both catching for over 100 yards. So this actually was a phenomenal game. And it now really, as we're going to find out when we talk about the playoffs, it now makes this one heck of a close battle, as we shall see shortly. But Patrick, tell us all about the game of the week, if you would do.
Yeah, so lots of games there that we just talked about that are worthy of honorable mentioning for game of the week. You know, in the LFC, both of you made some appearances that I think are worth mentioning. The Rushmores at the 66ers, apologize. What a great game. Absolutely awesome effort. And Kev, congratulations on your first win. If you don't win it all outright, the most coaching points, you're going to be in there, probably top 2. So excited for you to have some coaching to spend.
I've got to be honest, this shows how ignorant I have been. It's the first time I really actually properly looked up. And the fact that I get 120 coaching points during the playoffs is like, oh my God.
Yeah, no, that's a big deal, and it really can help a lot. So I'm excited for you to get a couple pops there during the postseason.
I'll probably get 1 out of all that lot. Yeah.
Well, let's try to be a little optimistic. I don't know.
Okay.
But yeah, you're 2. In there. Irish at Sharks, Ben. That was a great game as well, and I think that was a really good one to mention. I think also, 2 other ones from the PFC. Obviously, the Rapiers Generals was a great game, and then our friend Chris Weeks of the Chargers was a heartbreaker. I'm sure he's sad about that, but that was also a really good game as well. So I think that's super worth mentioning, and I'm sure also for we've talked to Chris before, but you have to be happy if you're the Rough Riders to win that one. So another great game, but the winner for me is the massive at Buccaneers game of the week. Bucks come out, they strike first, massive counters to tie it up. They have a back and forth in the end of the first half. It ends with the Bucks are up by 4. Then the Massive come out second half. They take a quick score to take the lead, and then continues at 56 minutes. I'm going to jump forward. It's all tied up. It's 24-24 at 56 minutes and like 40 seconds. A couple possessions go back and forth, and then it was like a coin toss who had it last. And they go, and at the 60th minute, the Massive kick a field goal for the win, 27-24. I mean, literally, it was the last play of the game, and they put it through the uprights. And I think that's a really exciting end, and I think very worthy of the game of the week, just to take it to there. Some great scoring, great back and forth, and congratulations to the Massive for a massive win against the Buccaneers. So that's our game of the week, but a lot of great honorable mentions this week, including for you all. So congratulations on that. Great games. Wish mine was as exciting. So let's jump in. And Ben, why don't you tell us about the LFC playoff picture? We've just gotten all our results. We just talked about those games. A lot of exciting things going on right now. I would love to hear about the LFC and what that's going to look like coming up.
Yeah, it's well, it might look at it. If you look at sort of the playoff seeding, the table at the moment, you might look at the LFC and think, it's all done and dusted. There's nothing to worry about there. But there's so many overlaps and like intricacies going on there. It really is wide open. Apart from the Giant Hornets sat at the top, that's done. Yeah, they're gonna easily win that one. They've got a nice easy game against the Weasels to finish off. I'm sure I read somewhere that Colin is wanting to go 10-0. He wants to have that perfect season, so I don't think he's going to go lightly on the poor old Weasels there. So that'll be that. Next and down, we got the Sharks and the Phoenix, both on 8-1, and it's incredibly tight between myself and the Phoenix there, because we're only separated by a few points on points difference. We've got a couple of sort of odd games coming up that could be sort of separated by a few points as well. So and it's depending whether you want to sort of play your rookies, or you give your starters a rest, and maybe potentially have to play that extra game in the postseason. So it's all to play for, really is all to play for. I don't know how Ian's going to handle it, and I don't know how I'm going to handle it yet. I still haven't decided. So that'll be that. The fourth seed, the Weasels are sat there now at the moment, but that's the only division. It's not locked down yet. It's still wide open, and if they lose, they could lose out to the Knights. Because it's a really, really tough game. Like I say, the poor old Weasels are going up against the Hornets, and then you've got a lot of teams there sat on 4 and 5 waiting to come up. So yeah, the Statesmen, however, they've secured their wildcard playoff. I'm fairly sure of that. 6 and 3 in the 5th seed slot there. I think that's pretty safe and sound. But then you sort of move further down into that last position. That's that 6th seed. You've got 3 teams there on 4 and 5: the Irish, the 66ers, and the Knights. The 66ers and the Knights play each other, so that could sort of tell everything. That's like a must-win game for both guys on that team to even keep their playoff hopes alive. And the Irish are facing the Statesmen. And I don't know, will the Statesmen go easy on them? Will they think, let's rest a few guys, we've got our seeding, we don't need to worry about it now? Or, would the Statesmen go all out to sort of, I don't know, sort of maybe try something a bit new going into the playoffs? I think it is wide open at the moment, and honestly, the results of the Week 10 games could change everything around. I don't think that table is going to look anything like that. Yeah, it's really exciting. I don't know what's quite going to happen, to be honest with you. So save that screen now, save that table, and look at it after the Week 10 results and see how much it changes.
Yeah, I'm actually shocked that even though I'm not on the standings, I literally, if I won, I actually have a shot, because of the other teams will all have the same record, and my differential isn't terrible. If I could pull off a win, I actually have an outside shot. That's mathematically correct, but I just don't think it'll happen.
Does that mean you might come out all guns blazing in Week 10 then?
That maybe, yeah. I am not going to count on it too much, but it's cool to think about. I think here's what I know. I just don't think going to the playoffs is other than ego and excitement of saying I went to the playoffs. I don't think I get past the first round. But Who knows? It'd be cool to have, I guess, 3 LFC East teams in the playoffs. That would be kind of neat. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, I think Lee does have it locked, right? Like he's 6-3. The worst he could be is 6-4. I think that gets him in the as a wild card no matter what. Like he's the fifth seed, and so then it's really just who's the 5-5 team that's making it in is what it looks like to me. So
yeah, that's pretty much exactly what's going to happen. Like I say that the Knights are currently sat in I think the Knights are sat in a fairly good position. But it's, I say, if they win and they have I think they have a better record than the Weasels. If they go into and win their division, then who else comes in? I think there's a lot more going on there.
Well, they're going against the 66ers, and they've proven to be kryptonite for a couple teams. So, I don't think it's a sure thing. Absolutely not. So
no, absolutely. So it's who knows what's going to happen there.
Yeah.
I think the PFC might be is that a little bit more tied up, Kev?
No, it's probably even worse.
Or I mean, we should say better, right? Like this is exciting.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah. I mean, basically, you've got the Rivets, number 1 seed at the moment. You've got the Eagles, number 2 seed at the moment, and you've got the Packers, number 3 seed at the moment. And basically, unless the Rivets lose, and unless the Eagles lose, then providing the Rivets and the Eagles both win, particularly the Eagles, then they are guaranteed second spot. So second seed. The Packers have to hope that the Eagles lose to actually overtake them. So those are the 3 divisions that are all tied up. And then we have the PFC East, which is an absolute, oh my goodness, what's going to happen there? You've got the Rapiers sitting on top at the moment, with the Generals both on 6-3, both on 4-1 divisional records. You've got the Rapiers sitting on 97 differential, and the Generals sitting on 63. So if they both lost next week, then one would assume that unless there's a 34-point differential, that the Rapiers would actually win the division. If they both won next week, we'd think the Rapiers would still win because of that points differential. Okay, so what that does then is it puts whoever doesn't win. So if one team doesn't win, then obviously they miss out and they go into the playoffs, or the Generals will go into the playoff mix. Okay, so that basically now would leave you, as it stands at the moment, with 3 teams for 2 places. Okay, those 3 teams would have a 6-3 record. One of the teams would have 61 points. The next team would have 63 points, and the next one would have 64 points. So to say that this week's games are absolutely imperative, basically what you've got to do is you've got to have 2 of those 3 teams to win, and they will clinch the wildcard spot. Okay, the 3 teams that we're talking about are the Generals, assuming that there's no change over there, and they are playing the Huskies. This week.
That's a nice way to build that differential for sure.
Yeah. And they are 2 points behind. That's all. You have the Stormers, who are playing the Chargers this week. Okay, and you have the Surfers, who are playing the Eagles this week.
That's a harder one.
Exactly. So you've got basically perm 2 from 3. If, however, wait for this one, okay, we all assume that all 3 of those teams lose, and the Rapiers lose to the Titans, who they're playing, then the Titans would leapfrog all of them in the playoff situation because they have 1 tied game. So they would then go to a record of 6-3-1.
Wow.
And what it would probably do is we've got to assume that the Generals are going to beat the Huskies. It would then put the Rapiers down into playoff position. So basically, we've got a situation where you've also got 2 teams just outside that on 5-4. One of them being the Bulldogs, who have an outside chance because they are playing the Bombers. Mm-hmm. So you've got to assume they're going to go to 6-4. Unfortunately, their differential at the moment is -7, but you've got to sort of be counting how many fingers do you need for differential to beat the Bombers. The Warriors, who are also sitting on 5 and 4, unfortunately are -26 differential at the moment, and they play the Rivets. So I think we can pretty much write them off there. So basically, bottom line, either one of the Rapiers or the Generals has got to lose, and then the other one will take the division. And you want somebody, either the Rapiers, the Generals, the Stormers, the Surfers, to win a game. Okay, so you want 2 out of those to win, and that basically sorts the wild card. If they don't win, it opens up the Titans and the Bulldogs to a lesser extent. So that is the situation for the PFC. And as you can see, still very much all to play for this week.
That's very exciting. That's very exciting. Yeah. Also shows the strength of the PFC versus the LFC, right? To have so many teams that have that record, kind of shows that they still really, a lot of the talent is there, and it's probably going to take a couple seasons for the LFC to be competitive. I think the gap has started to close. I think that the LFC started to have strong teams. I think it's going to take longer for all of that to build up, but the PFC, I mean, those are some great records to be headed into the playoffs. So, and there's
another way of looking. Yeah, there's another way of looking at it, though. I do agree with you. They've got strong teams, but they've also got at the other end of the scale, they've got some weak teams as well. Mm-hmm. So you've got and I don't mean this any disrespect, a lot of them are new coaches who I hope stay with us and just take it on the chin, as it were, live and learn about it. But you've got the Huskies, you've got the Bombers, and you've got the Fulham Hollow Devils, I think, are also in the PFC. And those 3 teams are all sitting on either 1 and 8 or 0 and 9. So I think that also helps to get your 6 and 3, fight for the wild card, because basically it looks as if you need 7 and 3 in the PFC, and you might scrape in with 5 and 5 in the LFC. I think the LFC are closer matched, as it were. I think there's some big differentials in the PFC.
No, that's right. Yeah, I think there is more parity in the LFC. Well, awesome. Yeah, it's an exciting playoff picture. We have week 10 games coming up here on the 23rd on Friday, right? So that'll be exciting to watch. We just so everyone knows, Kev and I are going to be spending time with family over the holidays, so the timing isn't great for the beginning of the playoffs. So we are not going to be around for a couple of weeks. We'll probably see you all deeper in the playoffs to kind of talk about what's going on. So we'll pretend that a bunch of stuff happened, and then we'll just see where we're at and have an exciting episode here in several weeks to talk about that. But in the meantime, we're going to have a happy holidays. We hope all of you out there have a happy holidays. And Ben, thank you so much. Good luck in the playoffs. I hope that goes really well for you. We're excited to see how you do.
Thank you very much. I'll try not to disappoint.
That's good. That's good. Well, yeah, good luck, rooting for the Sharks from the LFC. That's exciting. And this Friday we're gonna have a game, so I'm sure we'll exchange some words on the commentary afterwards, but good luck there. Wonderful to have you as always, and happy holidays to you.
Pleasure to be here, and happy holidays to you too.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah. And to everyone out there, and Kev, I appreciate you so much helping organize these calls and everything and videos.
No
so
problem,
thank
sir.
you. Yeah.
Everyone have a Merry Christmas, and I hope Santa's good to everyone.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, same to you. Everyone, I hope you have an awesome time out there, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.